It's finally here. We are jumping into day number 2, our final match from the losers bracket semifinals, I guess you could say, is going to be the one and only puCK versus Semper.
Yes, it is a TVP that I'm very much looking forward to. Both of these players have shown some extremely good matches, some really high multitasking. I'm just excited for this game, and the map is Orbital Shipyard, which is where we saw yesterday an incredible comeback from Semper versus puCK.
You know, it's so funny. I tried to talk the players into picking all Arena Prion Terraces and Ruins of Saras, but they would not heed my call.
Oh, why not? Such a great map
pool.
pool.
I am not too sure. It's definitely a very, very cool map that all three of them I really like, actually.
Well, they are maps, and I cannot dispute that.
But, you know, I am actually really, really interested. puCK is actually saying, you know, his controls were inverted at first, as I think we are getting ready to jump in. That explains the smile. But, ladies and gentlemen, we're hopping into game number 1 in this final best of 3 for today. Spawning down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, we have the unteamed Protoss player, puCK.
Looking good with his Unteam logo.
Unteam logo, and that Unclan decal.
And up in the top right position, from a team, it's Gravity's Semper, the Terran player. Representing Team Gravity.
Indeed. And in case you guys couldn't tell, this has been a pretty long day, but I think still shorter than some people may have guessed. Some silly things have been said lately, but I will say this. I look at this matchup, and I don't anticipate a very short game. In fact, I anticipate a longer series. Semper has definitely had some of the longest series that we've seen across the board.
Yes, it seems as though the longer the game goes, the better Semper does.
Yeah.
That's been pretty universally true. His game versus Desro, his game versus Scarlet on Central Protocol.
Yeah.
Yeah, the longer the game
Even
goes...
versus Masa, yeah.
Yes, yeah. The longer the game goes, the more comfortable he looks. And it looks like both players are going to be going for that expand. Semper skipping gas and going just rack CC, whereas puCK is going to be going for that gate, expand into gas, and then cyber. Or sorry, gate gas, expand into cyber.
Yeah, nothing super duper crazy, but we do have some statistics to talk about for these two players, their history against each other, and not super surprisingly, puCK does have a winning record versus Semper, 63%, 7 wins and 4 losses. But I will say that's something I think we talked about in the group stages when we were figuring out that seeding. One of the wins that actually Semper has versus puCK, it's one of the most important ones. It's from Team Gravity fighting. It's the first time these two face against each other, and it is probably the time that I realized, wow, Semper is an absolute beast.
He really is, and he's been showing that this tournament.
And I guess just talking really quickly about that match before you go into that, is just he ended up 3-0ing puCK, and while he doesn't have a winning record more recently against him, I think we've seen a lot of him today that just shows how strong he can be.
Yeah, he really has. And it looks like we've got a tweet up there. Can't wait for the final day of #KOTN tomorrow. Awesome StarCraft so far. Yeah, so if you want to show up on there on stream, feel free to tweet at us with the #KOTN hashtag.
Yeah. But we do end up having a Fast Factory coming out over here for Semper, and again, this is absolutely no surprise. This is what we've seen every single game from Semper. Fast tech up to Factory, fast tech up to the Starport, and getting out those medevacs as soon as possible to continue and to start, I should say, that harassment.
Yeah, and on the other side of the map, we do see that quick robotics facility from puCK. Just going to be chronoing out an observer, or maybe not even chronoing out, just producing an observer.
Yeah, again, just both of these players playing exactly what I was sort of expect out of them. And we do have a fairly fast 1 gateway, 1 robo bay coming out from puCK. So this looks a lot like it's going to actually lead into a build that puCK is a little bit infamous for, where he used to do this with the Colossus, but instead you go with the Disruptor drop, so you get that speed warp prism out. We may end up seeing that, only time will tell after that robotics bay finishes.
Yes, that Disruptor drop has kind of become his signature, especially on a map like Orbital Shipyard in the PvT matchup, and he's very, very good at it.
Oh, yes. He has, in fact, I believe in his game versus Semper, he ended up showing some really, really cool hits and managed to get lots and lots of pickups. But I think, as you were saying, as the game goes on, that's when Semper starts ramping up his own form of aggression. puCK's aggression is always really cute. It's a lot of really awesome micro individual tricks, but it tends to be focused in one kind of area, I think.
Yes, absolutely. And we did see that scan from Semper revealing that it is going to almost definitely be Colossus Drop. Seeing the robo facility, the robotics bay, pretty much tells you with the speed of this that it's going to be Colossus Drops, especially going up against puCK.
Yeah.
Sorry, puCK.
Yeah.
He's going to know that. Even going for that quick Viking, I really like that decision from Semper.
And it's not only that, but he had that move out across the map that I think we saw him do versus Desro that just completely caught Desro off guard when he was trying to go for that faster Twilight Council foregoing the Motion Core. That actually just ended up killing him in the final game. But in this game, we end up seeing Semper scan and see that and says, oh, I actually want my units at home to defend. Immediately pulls back, has the Viking, as you mentioned, ready and in place. The Cyclone going to be very, very strong, potentially against the War Prism as well. And we'll see how good of a job Semper can do against puCK's harassment.
Yeah, with that speed on the War Prism finishing up, that's just really nice for puCK. Gonna make it so that even though the Viking can shoot away, it can't actually hunt down this War Prism unless puCK makes a mistake.
A Stalker being warped, and I actually like this decision because if he's up against, for example, a Viking, then having 2 Stalkers in the mix, he can suddenly drop those against the Vikings that are a little bit too far forward.
He's actually up against 2 Vikings, and they are going to be dropped. They might actually be able to take down this Viking. Oh, it's going to be close. One more shot. Not quite finishing it off. Actually, getting a little bit overzealous. Wow, just barely keeps the War Prism alive, but does pick off the 1 Viking.
Yeah, and of course that War Prism does have, as we mentioned before, Gravitic Drive. Going to be able to escape out of there in double time. That Disruptor, you know, in any other situation, I'd just say, you know what? I really, really hope Semper does not move across the map right now, because that poor Disruptor would be left so far behind right now.
Yeah, but puCK actually coming back and going to high-five it, pick it up, and keep with this aggression.
That is just really, really aggressive play with such a low health War Prism. But he may be able to get a great shot off over here. Oh, there's actually a decent chunk of those Marines end up going down. We see 5 Marines being killed so far, as well as a single SCV.
Even that bunker going down. Yeah, that was a really nice shot from puCK. And puCK just being so precise there, recognizing that the Viking's still probably going to be blocking the entrance to the left side. But meanwhile, puCK back at home is powering up so hard, getting double upgrades. Blink and a 3rd Nexus is already saturated? Yeah, this is puCK. Welcome to puCKton.
Yeah, that is the thing about puCK, is that he does harassment, and it's always, you know, this really cute micro harassment, but he's always macroing up great, just absolutely fantastically behind it. And that is what makes him such a scary contender.
Yeah, and Blink is even almost done already on a Mortal on the way. Meanwhile, for Semper, we have Combat Shields and Stim just finishing up now, so maybe he might look to do something with these, get a bit of counter damage done.
Yeah, Armory going to be coming up as well for Semper, and really going to be looking to get up some great, great upgrade leads, as, you know, 1-1's going to be finishing up much sooner for him than...
oh, the Cyclone picking off that Disruptor.
Yeah, really, I think catching puCK by surprise, as he was not prepared for that, ends up losing that, and that's a pretty big loss right now, because puCK does not have another War Prism out. He has some Disruptors out, sure, but he's going to need to make another, and I actually would not be surprised to see him make another. He really does like to have that map presence.
Yes, and is throwing down 3 cannons in his natural. That's going to help a lot with the defense. But yeah, all of a sudden, killing that off, Semper finds himself 20 army supply ahead, and with a nice upgrade lead, is going to have to wait for a bit more gas to be able to start that +2 ground armor. But we do have a pretty notable advantage from Semper.
Yep, puCK now looking to move out a little bit further into the map. He needs to make sure his army doesn't get caught too spread out, because Semper is doing the exact same thing. He even has some Widow Mines in the mix. Disruptor shots going to go off, though, and those Widow Mines are going to be very, very susceptible to some of those shots.
Yeah, that's actually really nice from puCK, picking off both of those Widow Mines, seeing the little crunchy area on the ground. That's what I'm going to describe it as.
Yeah, would you say that Semper has been using a lot of scans lately this game? I feel like he's been throwing down a lot of scans to not only scan his opponent's base, he's been throwing down scans to find the army, he's been throwing down scans and trying to pick up observers. I'm actually surprised by how many scans I've been seeing out of Semper.
Yeah, it's a really high number, but I actually like it a lot because he's at such a high worker count right now. At 70 workers, you don't necessarily need those mules as much. Sure, they supplement your income, but knowing the position is really nice. Oh, actually, puCK's starting to get really aggressive. Nice actual shot. no stim from those units, and it does catch a small chunk of them.
Yeah.
Oh, this could be big as well.
You know, there is kind of this group of Terran players that I would say don't really decide to go for the splits. Instead, they just decide to run away, and I think Semper is one of those players. And sometimes it does come to kind of bite him in the butt because he ends up taking more losses, or he ends up stimming an enormous number of his units to try and avoid those disruptors.
Yeah, Semper is an absolute madman. In the face of high aggression from puCK, he picks up 4 medevacs worth of units and sends them across the map. I am just so amazed with how courageous he is.
Well, Azella does spot this, so puCK may actually take this as a moment to not only warp in back at home, but to be more aggressive. No, he's retreating all the way back. He says, I actually need everything back at home to defend this.
Semper's going to do so much damage right now, focusing down that robotics facility. Oh, looks like all of the energy from the Mothership core was used at Time Warp and 2 Photon Overcharges, but puCK might actually be able to not lose a Nexus here. That's very surprising.
Yeah, and only loses 2 workers, despite how scary of a situation that looked. puCK was so far in a position and trying to pull all the way back. Oh, that Warp Prism being stemmed away from it. Get away from the Warp Prism. It is scary. It can warp into depths.
That is a good point.
Oh, Disruptor, though. Nothing to fear here, man.
Yeah, it can only shoot the sun once.
Yeah. But we see the return for that Warp Prism. He's like, wait a second, I think I saw something back there.
Oh yeah, I did.
Out. But, you know, +1 air weapons being researched. We have a Stargate already finished up and a Fleet Beacon coming out for puCK right now.
That's a very quick Fleet Beacon, all things considered.
And, you know, the Liberator count, he's not... It's starting to build up, but I'd actually say, yeah, you know what, this actually seems like I'm actually pretty okay with the fact that Tempests are going to be coming out right now. This Liberator count up to 6, that's pretty high.
Yeah, that is a pretty high Liberator count, actually. It definitely makes it tough to deal with. Oh, nice. Widowmine does go down. Liberator, actually, 2 of them going down right there. Bit of a problem for Semper.
These High Templars continue to be warped in over here. Not all of them made into the Archons, because I do believe Storm is finished up.
Yes, it is. We've got 2 High Templar ready to storm right there. Not a lot, though. And again, we see Semper splitting off 3 medevacs. He is just a madman.
He is absolutely fearless, and we might end up seeing some of these Widowmine shots getting some good hits on the Archons. Going to soften him up quite a bit. Not quite going to be able to finish him off, but enough to scare him away.
That's actually very funny that 2 Widowmine shots do not kill an Archon.
Yeah.
puCK actually, since he's moving back, is going to be able to do this. Oh, if he...
Disruptor.
Nice scan.
Oh, but it's going to get taken out.
Oh, just doesn't go through. That was so close to killing nearly that entire army.
Yeah, it does end up buying a little bit of time. This army is going to get caught out of position. There are a couple of storms over here at this 4th expansion as well.
A lot of potential for damage, but the storms aren't cast, and wow, both High Templar do go down. Meanwhile, the Liberation Zones actually get unsieged.
Yeah, he knows that is still, even though there's not that many Stalkers over there, it's still a decent enough amount, and he's going to have some trouble dealing with this. Liberators all going to end up going down, though, trying to pick off whatever they can, but they're not even target firing down the workers.
Yeah, but they did actually get quite a few Stalkers there. Definitely a good trade, I think, for puCK. But Semper not losing it for free.
Yeah.
Still making them pay for that.
Gonna be losing a couple more of these units, trying to move in over here. puCK is doing a pretty good job, I would say, of defending against this aggression so far.
Oh, and it's too bad he actually didn't keep those Liberators alive, because the advanced ballistics is actually finishing up right now. He would have been able to siege down that base, but we do have Tempests coming out. 4 are already out with, I believe, more on the way.
And not only that, but we also have Ghosts coming out now for Semper, and actually a pretty hefty number of them. I think 3 already out on the map. We have 2 more on the way, and this is something that a lot of Terran players really just, I don't end up seeing a lot of them going for in this matchup, but Semper is one of the few players that still does go for the Ghost, despite how hard it can be to control. But Liberator sieging up, puCK pulls out, doesn't lose loses a single probe.
Yeah, that's, I'm going to say that's a really good trade for Semper. Meanwhile, this army on the left-hand side is going to get picked off. Blink forward, but more reinforcements coming in, and Semper's going to have to continue the retreat.
Yeah, but, you know, those 2 Liberators on the right-hand side of the map going to be retreating on home because he knows he needs actually a lot of units to defend this, because right now there's this very scary army pushing in for puCK, and Semper's army is kind of split up. It's kind of here and there. He doesn't actually grab all of his Ghosts. I think he has all of them selected, but he's not moving in with them.
Oh, yeah. Is he hiding them? No, it doesn't look like it, because he's still got 2 with the main army.
Oh, really, really interesting decision as he is going to be preparing to move in over here. Can get some good EMPs off. That's actually going to be really important because I would say Semper, he's a great player, but splits are not exactly his biggest strength. Oh my god, that ghost got so aggressive.
Yeah, it did. Big EMPs actually coming down, but not on the High Templar.
Oh,
now
there are some EMPs on the High Templar. Storms do go down, but there are a lot of Immortals that no longer have their shields available to them, and Semper is going to clean up this army.
He is, and puCK is getting pushed back, needs to save those Tempests. Kiting against the Vikings is going to take a couple of them down, but those Liberators are chasing, splashing all 3 Tempests, and it looks like puCK is going to lose these Tempests and take a big supply deficit.
Yeah, 3-3 upgrades finish up for both of these players, but at the end of the day, Semper's the one that keeps a bit of his army alive, and puCK is just relying on those reinforcements. He doesn't have any more High Templar. He has a couple of Tempests and some Stalkers available, but is he actually going to be prepared for this big counter swing?
Yeah, and Semper's been unharassed and is now up to a 5th base. Meanwhile, puCK is trying to get that 5th of his own just started, but it's going to be immediately denied. Look at that Hero Cyclone still alive from since he sniped that Warp Prism and Disruptor.
Been around for a while and still alive and kicking, but
oh, nice scan, actually seeing the DTs.
Yeah, gonna see that some of those DTs are moving out, but I don't even think that he actually directly engaged those. He can actually wait for them to go around the map, and then he can scan and deal with them with just a couple of units, start some missile turrets maybe.
Yeah, I think that's a good choice. Doesn't need to give up on this push. We do see the Tempests do take down a siege tank.
Yeah, there's a very heavily saturated base here. 27 of 18 workers, but Tempests do get locked on by Cyclone. Cyclone gets taken out, Storm goes down, and we end up seeing a lot of damage being done over here by, actually, I would say puCK to this little push-in.
Oh, wow, we actually see another attack coming in. Sieging the ramp from the 3rd and main is Semper. Tempests are going to be able to range down those Liberators. Oh, Disruptor getting popped off as it comes out, and a Robo Facility being targeted down. I actually like that decision. Meanwhile, attack at the 4th base. Nice EMPs on those Adepts, but there is a Storm still in the back.
Yeah, Storm does go down, gets some good damage done. The Ghosts also being picked off over here as they all do end up falling. Semper's continuing the aggression. Some of the Liberators now sieging up and trying to get a good position, and actually going to be enough to push back these Adepts. The Photon Cannons maybe going to be the only remaining defense of these workers.
Yeah, and puCK is continuing to take losses and even losing the mining at his last base. He is trying to get a 5th up on the left side of the map.
But it gets scanned.
Yes, and Semper is going to be moving an army there, and there's no way that puCK can defend this. That is so much bio. Oh, might not even be able to get a cancel.
Is he going to cancel? No, he's not
no,
going
that hurts
to.
so much.
A scan going down again, just saying, do you have an observer here? Let me just use up all of my scans because I have a beautiful 69 SCV count. Pretty good number.
Yeah, I feel that's the best of them.
But we do have the big push out from puCK as he has a lot of Tempest, has a decent number of Stalkers, and he has actually killed off a little bit of the supply for Semper, but Semper just has such a ridiculous economy, and he moves in on the backside with the Liberator, doing a bit of harassment. puCK is basically all in at this point, and he's got to make this work.
The Disruptor gets targeted down immediately.
Oh, the Tempest count is out of this world right now, and yeah, they even have +1 air weapons and some shield upgrades. Is this enough, though? I feel like puCK can't really easily reinforce this.
No, this looks like it's going to be a really tough position for puCK. puCK does have a lot of Tempests, but Semper pulling the boys. I love it. Knows that this just needs to hold this attack. Is going to get on top of those Tempests, splashing them down with the Liberators and focusing them down. GG comes out. Semper takes game 1. He has got to be happy with that.
Absolutely. Once again, the Dark Horse, or the Dark Hawk as we called it. I think you said the dark floaty object of doom or something along those lines.
Hover horse,
The hover horse. Really being able to take a game off of puCK already. puCK was considered by many still to be the favorite coming into this. I know puCK has not exactly been feeling great ever since, some of those early losses, but puCK is still playing pretty well.
Yeah, and speaking to that, Semper taking not just the game, but a convincing game. Looking very, very good. It feels like now people might get a little upset in chat, but it feels a little bit like watching puLK when he progresses through a tournament. The first games, sometimes they're a little bit shaky. You say, is this the puLK we were looking for? Yeah. Maybe not showing up as well as he does, but as the tournament progresses, he just seems to get stronger and stronger and stronger until finally he goes Super Saiyan. And there's just nothing you can do.
Yeah, and I would actually say I see that exact cycle also happen in the games themselves where, you know, sometimes, and I would actually say Semper looked pretty strong in the early game also against the defense against puCK. The only weakness that I feel like I can kind of want to point out about Semper is the fact that he, again, is one of those Terran players that I feel like his big strength is actually not in splitting. Like, I actually trying to think back to many times that I've seen Semper get out those massive splits or anything, or even just try to split against Disruptor, try and split